Testing, is this thing on? I want to take some time right now to, one, remind you that I started a podcast that's happening every single day. It's called The Daily Peach, where I talk about tech, entertainment, YouTube, business, personal things, Q&As. Every single day, a new episode of the podcast. But I want to give a little bit more context because the #1 place where these podcasts are housed is Anchor. This is a podcasting app. I ditched SoundCloud really quick because Anchor synced up with iTunes podcast quicker than I thought. So the two options to listen to the podcast are Anchor and iTunes podcast. Links will be in the description below. But the #1 place that you should be listening and interacting to it is Anchor. And the reason why is because I can actually interact with you guys on this app. The first time I mentioned this, a lot of you guys were like, cool, Sarah, but I don't know how to use it. Can you make some type of tutorial? I think it is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to give a quick tutorial. Why I want you guys to listen to The Daily Peach on Anchor is because I get to interact with you. You can call in, so that means I can hear your voice, and then if I like the question you ask or the topic you bring up, I can actually put you into my podcast. Your voice will be in The Daily Peach. Not only can you call in, but you can also comment on the show. On my Anchor page or your Anchor page, you have the live show that is basically what I have recorded today. So it's up on my page for 24 hours and then it disappears. Since I'm doing a podcast every single day, I'm wanting to save these so you can listen to them in the future, not just the day I posted it. So I will save them every single day as episodes. When they are an episode, they are actually automatically synced to iTunes, which makes it extremely easy on my part and also you, the listener's part. But the cool thing about Anchor is it's not only made to consume podcasts, but I know you guys out there are creators. You want to create stuff. Everyone and their dog has a podcast nowadays. So not only can you enjoy The Daily Peach, but maybe you want to create some type of podcast as well. Anchor is a tool to create podcasts. With one button, you can record yourself and start your podcast. I record a ton with my phone with this mic that I plug in, but I forgot it when I was packing for California. So I'm actually using this mic to record on my desktop for now, but I love that I can record on my phone and automatically post to Anchor. That is the best part about it, is just the ease of use. Right now, you can record and upload audio in 5-minute segments. I don't think that limit is going to be there for forever, but there are many different ways that you can use Anchor as well. You can do a phone call interview from the app. You literally just call your friend or person that you want to interview. You talk for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. You end the call, and that interview is automatically uploaded to Anchor. It's going to be in your drafts on the interview page, and you can upload that to your show at any point. So you can do phone call interviews. You can just record from your phone. You can upload audio from the desktop Anchor website. You can add music from Spotify and Apple Music, and you can take call-ins. Whew, so I hope that helped and maybe gives a little bit of context as to why I'm so excited about this app and I'm using it. Okay, so why I'm talking to you about this today is because I'm actually doing a podcast that I'm really excited about doing today. So not only am I bringing candid conversations, straight up phone interviews and Q&As, but I also wanted to do sophisticated stories, 15 to 20 minute stories that are intriguing and I know interest the majority of my audience. And today's is a good example because I am giving a little bit more context of the podcast world. Why is audio getting so popular? I talked to the Anchor CEO, Mike.
People are constantly looking to get more time in their lives, right? Like they're like, how do I get time back? I'm so busy, I'm running around all the time. I think what audio represents is a way to get some of that time back because you can multitask, right?
And because with making YouTube videos and a daily podcast and just all the other things that I'm trying to do, making some of these podcasts a little bit more sophisticated was intimidating to me. And I was like, I'm gonna need some help. So I have my friend Brandon, who you've probably seen in a few videos, helping me out with that. We're constantly bouncing ideas off of each other, sending each other articles. And once we land on an idea, he helps me kind of come up with a summary. And then from there, I form my opinion. I think about who I can talk to do a quick 5 to 10 minute interview. friends, welcome to another episode of The Daily Peach, where I talk about all things tech, creativity, and entertainment. My name is Sara Dietschy, rhymes with peachy. Today we are talking about media companies. It seems to be the thing right now. Everyone has one. When you think of media companies, what do you think? I automatically go to the man himself, Casey Neistat, who originally founded a company called Beam. It started as an app, started as a tech company, but now it is definitely geared more towards a media company after CNN bought them out. So they do have some unique tech and apps coming along, but people are calling it kind of the next Vice, maybe for a younger generation, which gets me excited. But again, everything seems to be around media companies. It's the new company. It's the new startup. So before we hop into things, I just want to thank my friend India. She works at Vayner Talent. I interview her in today's episode. You can follow her on the Twitter and Instagram at Heartbread, and also my friend Brandon at bpow33 on Instagram. He helped me produce this episode. Media companies. Goodness. So it seems like everyone is starting a media company, leading us to not even really know what that term means, I feel like. Is it just a business? Is it the new startup? The latest mogul to add media brand to their portfolio is the original girl boss, Sophia Amoruso. Famous for founding Nasty Gal in 2006. At just 22 years old, Amoruso founded Nasty Gal as an eBay store for vintage clothes. Over the next 10 years, she became the Cinderella of tech, as Nasty Gal became a major fashion brand and retailer catering to young women. During this time, she authored the book #GirlBoss in 2014, which was a New York bestseller for nearly 20 weeks. I remember first seeing #GirlBoss in a little store in the airport. I had no idea who Sophia Amoruso was, and I just knew of this website, nastygal.com, as a website that I bought some Jeffrey Campbell sneakers on at some point in college, and that was the extent that I knew of her. But then I started the book on this 3-hour flight. I finished it from front to back. On the flight. It was so intriguing. It had me so into the book the entire time. I highly recommend it. No matter what you think of Sophia Amoruso or her journey throughout the business world, it is insanely inspiring, and I don't read many books, and I got through that one so quickly. So she was richer than Beyonce, which honestly, I might need to fact check that again. Check out the links in the description. But yeah, she was richer than Beyonce, as Nasty Gal surpassed $300 million in 2015 and topped a list of e-commerce performers, beating out Apple and Amazon. Holy cow. It was all exploding for Amoruso. But then some trouble came after taking a series of hits from Nasty Gal's very public dip into bankruptcy, which decimated her net worth and ended in selling the brand off for just $20 million. $20 million. So they sold it to Boohoo.com and then to a critically panned Netflix series based on her well-known book. Amoruso appears that she's ready to bounce back. So this news first came to me via my Twitter feed. I get all of my news via Twitter, whether it is business, whether it is political, or whether it's urgent news. I feel like Twitter is the place to be. Sophia Amoruso has raised $1.5 million in venture funding for a company whose goal is to create a business centered around helping a new generation of women define success through a company ecosystem that includes a publication, events, a podcast, and a foundation that awards financial grants to women in design, fashion, music, and the arts. So she's brought on some pretty impressive partners on board to fill out the Girl Boss Media leadership, including Allison Wyatt, former CRO of Goop. I've never understand the company name Goop. I think it is like a very gross name, but that is a company headed out by Gwyneth Paltrow. So Sophia Amoruso has also brought on Neha Gandhi, former SVP of Content Strategy at Refinery 29, which Refinery 29 has been crushing ever since they came on the spot as a media company. They've been honestly crushing it. I follow them on all social medias. So I'm super excited to see how this leadership will lead out Girl Boss Media. So Amoruso will now lead Girl Boss and focus on expanding the brand she watched grow from a retailer to a book to a podcast and to a TV show. I actually watched the TV show Girl Boss, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. As an inspiration junkie, I thought it was fantastic and inspiring, but a lot of people gave it bad reviews for some reason. Honestly, I don't know why, but I just remember Sophia retweeting the hate on Twitter and having words about it. I think she's sassy, which you probably need in the business world these days, but I thoroughly enjoyed the Netflix series. So if you want kind of more behind the scenes of how Girl Boss came to be, I would recommend reading the book, but also checking out the Netflix series. But to further dive into the subject, I have an interview with my friend India. She works at Vayner Talent, and she was the first person who I talked to about this this thing happening with Sophia Amoruso and getting funding for this new company, Girl Boss Media. So enjoy this interview. India, we made it. Yeah.
It worked.
It worked. I was wondering because my friend India is in Canada right now. What are you doing up in Canada?
I am up here at my family's lake house where my grandparents used to live. And it's been lovely. Yeah. What's the best part about Canada and where you are? Is it the chillness, being away from New York City where you live? Yeah, it's definitely the chillness. The fact that all I do all day is eat, swim in the lake, go canoeing, and have beer. And that's my whole day, every day.
Living the life. How is it? When are you going back to New York? Are you ready for it?
I actually go back Sunday.
Okay. Are you going to miss Canada?
Yeah, I think I will. I don't know. I'm ready, though. I'm ready for civilization.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But yeah, I think we got in a very interesting Twitter conversation about the Nasty Gal founder, Sophia, raises $1.2 million for new venture, Girl Boss Media. And it's funny what you said, because I didn't think about it until you said it. But literally all of the companies that are starting up right now, or you're hearing big press about it, is media companies. Everyone trying to be the next BuzzFeed almost.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of what everyone is seeing is working. Like, even if you're a business, you have to be making content to kind of reach people, because people aren't just looking at ads anymore. Like, I was even just flipping through a magazine, just before this call, and there was an ad for, a barbecue, but it was a recipe on a page in the middle of the magazine, not just an ad for the barbecue. So, even at that low level, even just, one little piece of content somewhere is what people are doing, rather than just kind of showing their product and hoping people will buy it. It's just not enough anymore. And it's funny because she kind of went backwards in what people are doing now, because she had Nasty Gal first, and now she's starting a media company, and definitely through her Netflix series, it seems like that's kind of her focus now. And I think it's smart to be doing that. She definitely has a lot of fans and interest in her after her book. So I think it's probably a good move.
Have you read her book?
I actually haven't read it.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends did and really liked it.
Really? See, it's funny because I followed her closely, Sophia Amoruso.
Yeah.
And so my first introduction to her was her book. I was at an airport.
Okay.
Yeah. I was at an airport. I didn't know who she was, but I saw her book cover, and it just said Girl Boss, and she looked kind of badass on it and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this book and read it on the plane. So over a 3-hour airplane ride, I read the entire book. I was so engrossed in it, and I was so fascinated because it's the story of, this chick who has all these crappy jobs, and she's eating bagels out of dumpsters with her friends, and then has this idea, and she's, being all scrappy in her San Francisco apartment, and then she gets to this level that she's just dominating and, she's just worth millions and millions of dollars. So it's super inspiring, but then you dig a little bit deeper and you see, you know, what the press is saying about her and how Nasty Gal declared bankruptcy, and she went from CEO to creative director to now she's not even like attached to it. And then you start thinking, is it selfish for her to focus on her personal brand when Nasty Gal gave her everything? And a lot of people, you know, say she's not the nicest person. You even see in the next Netflix series that she's an aspiring human, but she might not, you know, you might not want to be friends with her. So it's kind of this weird thing where I feel like people are constantly talking about her personality and what she's done in business, but then now it's like, okay, this girl boss movement kind of spawned out of it, which is cool. Yeah. What do you think like this media company is going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you said is really interesting also just because, you know, she is being judged for who she is as a person, but also as a business person. As a business person, she made the right decision to kind of step away from Nasty Gal when she saw that it wasn't going so well, and that was when she kind of started investing in her personal brand. So I think the girl boss thing is cool. Like, I think her personal brand, the ideas behind it are really cool, and I'm really into them, but, like, if she decides to not just be running a business like Nasty Gal and wants to be like the face of this movement she's calling girl boss, then that's way more pressure on like her as a person than if she was just going to be a business person. So she really has to like practice what she preaches, you know, and from what I, you know, can tell just from the announcement and the fact that she's sticking with girl boss, it's like going to be, you know, it's going to be girl power, feminism, all those things. And I just hope that it kind of does more than what a lot of the more like really mainstream, big name organizations championing feminism are doing now. And I hope that she takes it like to the next level. I think there's a lot of like, in a weird way, there's a lot of money to be made and like touting yourself as a feminist right now. And you know, everybody's buying pillows that say like pussy power on them and stuff like that. And like, I'm not super cool with that. I'm like, you can like sell pillows like that and that's fine, but don't say that you're like winning for feminists everywhere. So I hope that whatever she does do, that it actually does, you know, take on the issues that she raises and that she's actually doing good work. And especially for, you know, feminists who are people of color who have it like so much worse than white feminists, and she's a white feminist. So I feel like she'll just really need to practice what she preaches, because there have been, you know, things said about her, and, you know, I don't judge because I don't know her and I haven't worked with her, but like,
well, because it's tricky.
Step it up.
Exactly. And it's tricky when you are known for those things, but then like one of her biggest lawsuits when she was at Nasty Gal was for like firing, I need to fact check this, but it was for firing, I think, like 2 people because they got pregnant or something. And so it was a big thing of like, oh, you're a feminist, but like, you know, this happens. And so you never know what's true or what's not true. But yeah, it's interesting. And I'm stoked because I think she does have such a cool vibe going on, but then there's also always going to be those things that people talk about and things. But I loved,
absolutely.
And with this, I feel like it is interesting because now you can't just have ads, you know, just like you said with the barbecue thing and the recipe, it has to be actual stuff that you interact with and you actually consume, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is selling something too, but you have my attention. And you know, you work at VaynerMedia. What is kind of your take on you? Like VaynerMedia is responsible for making content for big Fortune 500 brands that then, you know, sell stuff. And you specifically are working in terms of like working with personal brands. So what is kind of some of the trends you've seen? You've worked there for 5 years, right?
5 years now, Yeah.
So how is, I mean, I'm sure things have changed in the past 5 years. Now it's all about the content.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's definitely about the content now. And it's funny because we were always making content, but just in different ways. Like, we're never going to be focused just on one type of content or one thing, you know, like whatever people are paying attention to, whenever people are using as a platform, like that's where we want to be. So now working on people's personal brands, like what we're really focused on is video. Of course, like video is huge. We produce a weekly series for all of our clients where it's like a little web series that lives on YouTube and Facebook. And I previously was working on Gary's brand, the CEO, and his whole thing is, you know, give away everything for free and like don't hold anything back because that's how you get people in. And definitely I subscribe to that too. Like, there's no reason to be like hiding, you know, your secrets, because people are going to want to follow you because of your expertise. So no need in like you don't have to bury the lead, you know, and like sell some like $500 ebook just because, like, you know, you don't want to like tell people your secret. So it's just really cool to see like the rest of the world kind of take on. Like, I'm sure she'll have a huge video department. She has to
100%.
at Girl Boss. Like, she'll have
100%.
so much video production. Yeah.
Yeah, and even how, because you were on, you know, Gary V's team, or Gary Vaynerchuk. If let me give a little bit of context for people who are listening. So India used to really work on Team Gary, which is Gary Vaynerchuk, CEO of VaynerMedia, but he's more known for his lively, inspiring content on his personal channels, you know, on his Instagram and YouTube and Daily V and the Ask Gary V show. And you worked very closely alongside of him for a while. You were the person who read out questions on the Ask Gary V show and stuff.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, while you were there, I mean, he has grown so astronomically on Instagram. It's insane. And I think really what helped him put him over the top was all this video work that you guys have done. I mean, it's insane. Even his Instagram stories are just insane.
Yeah, they're crazy. And you know, I definitely owe like a lot of, I feel like, my thinking around this to like working on his team and working closely with him, because he sees trends so well like that. And I think like the video one is something he saw really early on. And I think back in the day he was invested really heavily in Snapchat, but I'm starting to see, like, as I take a step back and look at the larger history of like him as a person and his brand, like, he's always been invested in video, obviously, but I think what he really liked about Snapchat was like how accessible it was as video, because like up until like a few years ago, I feel like YouTube even was kind of like a funny world, but like now YouTube's so mainstream, like everybody uses it, everybody watches stuff on it, it's like TV, but it wasn't really like that when he was doing like Wine Library. So I think maybe why he liked Snapchat so much was because it was this like really open video platform that a ton of people used, and it was video based. And I think that he was just starting to notice like how video was about to have like a huge moment. And as people started to pivot towards it, like, it's totally true. Everybody is making video.
Yeah. And what's insane about Snapchat is almost all influencers are like Instagram stories where it's at. Snapchat doesn't care about influencers. But I think the leverage that Snapchat still has is it's still like the average Joe who is, you know, 10 to 26 is on Snapchat. It's a very friend-to-friend platform. So even if it's not catering to the influencers, it's still such a huge platform for advertisers to stick their 10-second video in between people watching their friends' stories. So maybe it's not a place for, you know, a friendly place for the influencers, but I think especially for brands, it's like you can't sleep on it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a good place to have like that like secret club still, kind of like you're saying, so many like young people are still on it. Like Instagram is so open and out there, and like everyone's like, I can't even imagine, like, I don't even know why people have private profiles anymore, except for like your Finsta. Like, do you know that this thing is a Finsta? I heard about a Finsta like a year. I felt so old. Do you know what it is? It's like a secret Instagram account that's private. Did you know? Do you have one, Sarah? Do you have a Finsta?
No.
Yes, they're called Teens Do It. Yes.
Really?
No. Yeah, you need a Finsta. Oh,
you're making me feel old.
I feel like, you know, you can have like a cool secret club on Instagram in that way, and if you're a huge influencer, like, it's great to be part of that. Maybe you have a like secret account that's private and people just follow that. But like Snapchat really could be like, because you can like really control who sees what on Snapchat a lot better. So that could be a cool play for an influencer. Like, maybe the platform isn't helping you out, but like whatever. I mean, they have, you know, they're focusing on other things too.
That's an interesting insight. Like, use Snapchat to, you know, it's just like secret club. I like it. Man, India, when is your ebook coming out? Yeah.
It's out. You can just tweet at me and I'll answer your question.
Oh my God. I love that so much. Well, no, this has been so freaking fantastic. Enjoy your last few days in Canada. And I'm super stoked to see how this Girl Boss Media thing turns out. Maybe you and me can collab on a piece for her. Put it on the girlboss.com website. I'll have my people talk to Sophia's people.
Oh, great. Amazing. Because I definitely don't have people. So I'll let you do that. What is your Instagram and Twitter? My Instagram and Twitter are the same. They're both Heartbread. That's HeartBread.
amazing people. Go follow her. She's amazing. She's my homie from New York City. Thanks for chatting, girl.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. If you have thoughts, you should call into the Anchor station. If you are tuning in onto iTunes podcast, maybe you can leave a review if you want. All of the people you should follow at Sophia Amoruso on Twitter and Instagram, at Heartbread on Twitter and Instagram, and then Brandon, who helped me produce this episode, at BPow33. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, happy hustling. Okay, bye.